What is going on, you guys? This is JPro Gaming with another video. This video we're going to touch on hitting tips. I get asked a lot actually on what I do for hitting. I've actually been requested to make this video, so I'm finally diving into this. I'm going to go over 7 main points to hopefully help you become a better hitter. First one is we're going to choose the correct camera for you. The second one is we're going to concentrate on zone hitting. Zone hitting is very key in this game. The third is we're going to choose the PCI that works best for you. I'm going to show you all the stuff that I do when I hit and dive deeper into these. There's 7 points here. I'm going to dive deeper into each of them and kind of give you an idea of how I've become a good hitter, and hopefully this can help you guys in your approach as well. The fourth is your pre-pitch PCI position. That's important. We'll dive into that shortly. Pay attention. Number 5, pay attention to the pitcher tendencies. That's very important as well. 6, we're going to sift fastball and adjust. That is mostly for, that actually can be related to all-star difficulty, but I was mainly thinking Hall of Fame. I'll dive into that a little bit. And then the 7th, the last point, is practice. Practice, practice, practice. I'll go into some practice modes you can try, you can do, and hopefully that helps with basically catching up to fastballs and other off-speed pitches. But let's dive into all 7 of these and let's get it going. Alright, first things first, we're going to have to choose the correct camera. This is point number 1. I currently use strike zone camera. I've always used strike zone camera. I have worked with other cameras, but this one works the best for me. I can see the best break where pitches are going and whatnot. But I'm going to go over these real quick. This is strike zone camera. It's just a straight on shot from the pitcher's angle. You don't see much of the batter, and this is the one I currently use. Strike zone 2 is just a little bit further back from strike zone. You see a little bit more of the batter. You can probably see the ball a little bit longer, a tad longer. But that's strike zone 2. Strike zone 3 is all the way back. You see the entire batter, and you get a wide lens angle, so you see the first and third baseman and the outfielders. So I know some people use this for pitching, but not necessarily hitting. Strike zone high is just a little bit higher than strike zone. You see a little bit more of the batter. I haven't actually tested this one. I might try this one at some point. Strike zone offset is just a little tilt. You see less of the batter. It's more of an angle. You can barely even notice it. It's very subtle. So there's that. And then there's wide. I know a lot of people use this while pitching as well, but I have not I have not dove into this one at all. Like I said, I mainly stick to strike zone because it is my best angle. This is offset, just a little bit more offset than wide and a little bit closer. And then offset zoom. This is actually a good one for pitching. You can see basically everything. You see first and third base, and then you can see the batter, how he's swinging the bat early, late, lunging, whatnot. But that's offset zoom there. And then those are the hitting ones. So like I said, I use strike zone. This is my favorite one, so I'm going to recommend this one. If this one doesn't work for you, if the pitches are coming in too quick, or if you notice that you hit better on a different strike zone or a different camera, go with your camera. I'm going to give you all the options that I use. If it doesn't work for you, don't use it, just because that's not going to help you in the long run. I know some people can't hit on strike zone, so they use strike zone high. Some people use strike zone 2, but me personally, I just like strike zone. So that's the first point. Choose the camera that works best for you. Next thing we're going to talk about is zone hitting. I'm not going to go over directional hitting. Directional hitting is another mode you can try. I highly do not recommend it. You will have more control of hitting with zone hitting. Directionally, you just have to point to a direction and press X, circle, or square. So it doesn't go much deeper than that. It's pretty simple, pretty standard. But zone hitting, I'm going to go over here shortly. I have Tim Anderson up here. This is zone hitting, what zone hitting looks like. So you're going to have this PCI, this yellow PCI. I'll go over which one I use in a little bit. But you basically have control. So what I tried to do with mine, this is wedge PCI. I'm going to try and line this ball up with the ball and then swing. So that was a perfect one to swing at right there. But it's basically more control. So if you got a pitch down here and you go down and get it, you're most likely going to hit it. With zone or with directional hitting, you're going to not necessarily miss the pitch, but you're not going to hit it where you want to hit it. So I'm going to try and hit, my screen's over here actually, I'm going to look over here. I'm going to leave that one off. That's another thing too, is being patient. You got to be patient at the plate. I'll go over that a little bit. We're going to try and hit this one here shortly. Let's see if I can get it. That was way inside, but as you see, you do have a lot more control over the pitch on where it goes and where you want to hit it. So that's zone hitting. Pretty simple, pretty standard. 2 forms, directional and zone. This is just zone hitting here. All right, next point we're going to go over is choose your PCI, the PCI that works best for you. Your PCI is your plate coverage indicator. What that is right here is this yellow figure right here, this yellow shape. That is my PCI. And basically what you have to do is line this up with the pitch and then swing. So I'm going to go over the ones that I have used and I have had success with. This one I'm using right here is called wedge. This is my favorite one because I like having that yellow dot in the middle of my PCI to line it up with the pitch. So this one is wedge. All right, this PCI, this is PCI outline. I know a few people that do use this. It's basically a almost full circle with that dot in the middle of the PCI. It's just another version, something else to look at, a little bit different than what I use, but just a different option to use. So, all right, this one is just the classic one. It's got the circle with the faded shade of yellow in the center. This is basically the one you start off with when you start using Zone. It's just the default that they give you, but you can always switch it. But that's what this looks like. It might be something that you might want to try because it gives you that full circle, and you can maybe just like that better than what I currently use, which is wedge. All right, this is the last one I'm gonna go over. This is reticle. This is just like wedge, but it doesn't have that dot in the middle. It gives you a half circle, half moon outline on both sides, and you basically just have to line up the pitch in the middle between those. This is actually nice to use. I did use this for a little bit, but like I said, preference-wise, I do like that little dot in the center. It's another option you can use. Try all these out, see what works best for you, because like I said, if I give you an option to use that I use, it might not work for you. So you got to make sure you find something that works for you and that you do well with. Cycle through a couple of these, see what works best, and just go with that one for a while. If that doesn't work, switch it up and try something new. All right, next thing we're going to go over here is your PCI placement before the pitcher throws the ball. I know a couple people that like to start their PCI in a certain position. What I like to do, and I've noticed I've done after watching my videos on YouTube, I like to swing it around and keep my thumb loose, and then right before the pitch is thrown, I like to basically hover it in the center and then adjust from there. I don't know why it works. It does work for me. Last year I liked to hover it down low because pitches were not as fast, and then I would just wait here for a pitch down low and then adjust from there. But this year in MLB 19, like I said, I like to keep my finger loose. I'll swing this around a couple times. Right before the pitch, I'll hover it in the middle and then just give it a little flick, keep my thumb loose. I do have a lot of success with that. It's just something that works for me. I know some people that like to start the PCI right in here and then adjust. I know some people like to start it high and adjust from there and go down. I did try that, but I noticed I pull the PCI too quick and then I get under the ball. So you can also start it low and then go up, adjust that way. But like I said, just like going up to down, I usually get on top of the ball doing that. So I just like to keep it hovered in the middle, and then right before the pitch is thrown, I give it a little flick to keep my thumb loose and then adjust from there. Here, I'll try. There we go, that's a gap shot, that's a double. Yes, find out what works best for you. Choose a placement that works best. Do that, and then try a couple options. Just go into practice. I'll go over that here shortly, where practice is and where you can find it. But go into practice and kind of just practice what works and just choose one that you feel comfortable with. All right, next thing we're going to go over is pay attention to your pitcher tendencies. This is a lot easier said than done. When you're going into an at-bat, I like to take a few pitches just to kind of see what the pitcher's doing early on. I'll take a few pitches and then kind of attack when I think I have a good pitch coming. But you have to pay attention to what your pitcher's doing. If your pitcher's throwing it high and in, maybe you can cheat a little bit up here for your PCI and wait for it to get there and then swing. Obviously, that's a little bit more over the middle of the plate, but just you got to pay attention. If they're throwing a lot in the dirt, maybe you can hover down here a little bit, wait for one low in the zone. It's very important that you kind of pick up their tactics and what they're trying to do to certain hitters. And you also have to know the strengths and weaknesses of your hitters. Because obviously someone like Joe Morgan, who has a very hovered stance and stands really close to the plate, I know a lot of pitchers are going to try and throw fastballs in on his hands because they don't think his hands are quick enough to get in there. I do the same thing, but I like to mix it up and then throw that inside fastball. But that is one example of basically using a hitter. What I think is a weakness is the inside pitch to Joe Morgan. But if you got a good hitter that has Joe Morgan and they're getting that inside fastball, you're going to have to adjust as a pitcher. So that's just one example. Pick up what they're doing. You can kind of maybe put your PCI in a certain zone if you think they can keep throwing it there every second, third pitch, fourth pitch. Just kind of keep an eye on what they're doing. Pretty straightforward, but pick up what your pitcher's doing and attack when they do make a mistake. All right, next thing we're going to go over here is sitting fastball and then adjusting. With this year's game, the fastball is very important. It's thrown a lot more than last year's game, which off speed was relied on heavily. This year, the fastball makes more of a difference. It comes in quicker, and yeah, you're gonna have to adjust to that. So this is mainly on Hall of Fame. All-Star, the fastball is not as fast, but you still need to adjust if you're kind of just starting out. What I like to do is basically sit fastball. I'm sitting fastball depending on the pitcher. If we're facing a hard thrower, let's think Nolan Ryan. Nolan Ryan throws 100 miles an hour. His sinker comes in at like 97. So we're going to be sitting fastball and sinker on that pitcher, and then just adjust to his curveball and his changeup. Here, this is Walker Buehler. He throws a mid-90, high-90 fastball. We're going to sit fastball here. We're going to try and adjust as the pitch comes in. So we're going to swing at this one no matter what. Just to give you an idea. So sit fastball. We were late on that pitch. As you see right there, we were right on it, a little bit late. These balls are coming in. I think I turned up the sliders a little bit, but let's try this one as well. Sit fastball. That was a cutter, had a little bit of movement on it, but you get the idea. So sit fastball and adjust. Some players do this. I know everyone has different techniques on what they like to do. Do what works for you. If you don't like to sit fastball, expect a fastball and then adjust from there. Try something else. It does work for me. It does help. And be patient at the plate. That's a very big point I want to emphasize in this video, is you have to be patient. So yes, just sit fastball, adjust from there, and see if that works for you. The last point I'm going to go over here is practicing. Practicing is important when you're first starting out, especially if you're just switching to zone hitting. You want to practice as much as possible. They have a little tool in here you can do and actually customize your own practice. This is the main screen. I'm going to show you how to get to it. You're going to go over to the right, go over to the right, go over to the right, and you're going to come down here to custom practice. I'm just going to choose first team. We're going to jump into it. You can customize basically everything. You can do batting, pitching, fielding, and even base running, which is kind of neat. So, and then once you get into the game, I'll show you as this loads here. So obviously I'm pitching right now, but you can switch this over here. So I'm going to go to create play up here, and I'm going to hit X to get over this practice options, and I'm going to switch this. I'm going to hit X again. You can go between batting and pitching, batting and pitching. We're going to batting here. And then if you want to repeat the play, just keep hitting with the same player. You're going to change this to yes. You can also change these balls and strikes to make a certain count that you like. I would just keep it just like this. You can choose the pitcher, whoever you want pitching, opposing hitters or opposing pitchers. And then what's another thing? As a hitter too, you can also change any hitter you want on that team. So we're going to go with Tim Anderson, just kind of go from here. This is Hall of Fame or Legend. I think this is Hall of Fame. So my PCI is obviously a little bit smaller. And you just come in here. When I'm first starting out, when I did first start out zone hitting, I came in here and I didn't actually swing the bat. I basically just followed my PCI with the ball and the release of the ball from the pitcher. I never swung. I just wanted to see how the ball was coming out of their hand. I just came here and I just followed the ball so I could pick up off speed and fastball pitches. Just kind of see. Another big point I want to point out is when you are hitting and practicing, watch the ball literally come out of the pitcher's hand. I don't think enough people do this. They look into location. So Walker Buehler's going to, where my PCI is right now, he's going to throw it right around here. His release, I'm going to try and dot it up, is a little bit higher. So his release in my zone every single time when he's coming out of the windup is right here. So I need to look for the pitch coming out of the zone right here every time. I'm trying to dot it, boom, right there. So literally watch the ball come out of the pitcher's hand. You'll pick up breaks that much quicker, especially on Hall of Fame where the ball's coming a little bit quicker, even Legend. You need to pick up those breaks as soon as possible just to catch up to some of those pitches. Not necessarily all-star, the pitch speeds are a little bit slower and bigger PCI, so you can adjust to that, but let's try and hit this one just to give you an idea that I'm a decent hitter. Well, that ball's gonna go. That might go. Nope, right on the warning track, but you get the idea. Come into practice, set the practice you want to set up. Like I said, there's batting, pitching, fielding, and base. Just practice as much as you can. I can't emphasize that enough, especially when you're first starting out with zone hitting. So jump into practice, figure out what you want to do, and then create that play, and then do it for about 20 minutes a day and kind of go from there. So hopefully some of these hitting tips helped you out. I know there's a lot of videos out there on hitting tips. Everyone's going to give you a different scenario, a different way to go about hitting. So hopefully this helps you maybe not know something that you knew before. And if you haven't known anything, hopefully this helps you in the long run. You can pick some things up and work it into your game a little bit. But if you guys do have questions, I am on Instagram. I'm very active on Instagram right now. We got about 3,000 followers on there. Leave comments in the section below if you do have questions. I try to be as helpful as I can. I'm pretty busy, but I try to be as active on social media as I can and helpful with the community. So if any of these questions or if any of these tips you don't understand or anything, contact me. I'll try and answer them as clear as possible. And thank you guys for watching, and I will see you in the next video.